Hello and welcome everyone, all those people who have joined this session. This session is for Azure 204 certification track, developing solution for Microsoft Azure. And this session is for the community purpose, organized by Azure Easy team and sponsored by Microsoft Azure. We have total 7 sessions for this particular track. And I hope that all those people who have registered for this session have registered for all the sessions for this particular thing. Today's session is a part 2 for compute solutions. We have already covered the part 1 in our previous sessions, and today we are going to cover this part 2 for compute solutions. And before I tell you more about these sessions, let me introduce all the core team member for AzureTalk team. These are the people who are helping delivering these sessions, building content, building labs, and delivering the session for a community purpose. So myself, Vipin Jha, I'm an MCT and I deliver training for Microsoft technologies, specifically on Azure. Then we have Ram Murthy. Ram Murthy is an MCT and he is a cloud architect who help us delivering several sessions. And then we have Ashish Raj. Ashish is a DevOps architect. He is also an MCT. He has delivered several sessions. He was leading DevOps tracks previous to this EC204, and he has delivered several sessions in 204 as well. Then we have Shri, and Shri is a cloud solution architect who help building some sessions. Then we have Sanjeev Panikari, who is a senior software engineer and who would be the speaker for today's session as well. Then we have Nitanshu Sharma. He helps us in delivering some lab sessions as well as he helps us hosting sessions and all those things. Then we have Kirtika Gupta. She is a cloud engineer. She has also delivered several sessions in the past and helped building these sessions for the community purpose. Then our next core team member is Arun Pachera. Arun is also an MCT and he is a cloud architect. He would be our co-speaker for today. And for today's session, we have 2 speakers. So the first one would be Sanjeev Panikari, who will help you throughout the conceptual part of the session. He is a MCP and a senior software engineer. Then we have Arun Pachera, who will help you showing the demo part, the lab session for today's concept. And now with all these sessions, we have some good things for all the participants who join these sessions. So if you are participating in all the sessions, you are registered for all these sessions, you have a good thing like you can win the free exam vouchers for Azure. So to win this exam voucher, what you need to do, you need to appear for the quiz at the end of the session. And we have 6 participants that we announce in every session for our previous sessions who get this exam voucher provided by Microsoft. Along with this exam voucher, one participant will also get a free print copy for a book authored by Ashish Raj. The book name is Demystifying Azure DevOps series. He has authored this particular book. But yes, to win this exam, you must be registered on Eventbrite. Eventbrite is where you can register for all the sessions. And if you have registered and appear for this quiz today, it means you have a chance to get your exam voucher that will be announced in our next session. Okay, and with all these things, let me welcome our speaker Sanjeev Panigari, who will lead this particular session and start from this particular slide where he will help you from the certification path for this 204. Sanjeev, please carry on and welcome for this session too.
Sanjeev, you there?
Yeah.
We are, I mean, it's very, your audio is not clear.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's better, but it's still very low. Looks like you are sitting away from your desk, something like that.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can, but still the mic is not good. I mean, audio quality is not good.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Now it is better.
Okay.
Yes, it's perfect now, Sanjeev. Carry on.
Yeah, please go ahead and share your screen with the slide. Yeah.
So thank you, Bipin, for covering all this previous part. So I will be covering now the developer associate certification path. So here, I think this is called the AG204 series, and previously it was known as AG203, but now it has been replaced with AG204. So you can directly take the 204 or your 900 exam or the 104 exam also, or you can once you take one of these exam, you can then take the exam for the AG4 400 series, where you can get the Azure DevOps badge. I think that's the certification path Microsoft provides. So now let's see what we are covering in the 204. So currently we are covering the developed Azure Compute Solution. I think in the last session we have covered some part of Azure Compute Solution. And once the session goes on, we will cover the Azure Storage and Azure Security, and like how we monitor and how we use the App Insights for Azure solutions. And then we will go through the Azure, like how we will consume or how we will use the Azure services and third-party services into our application. So this is the entire series we will be covering in our whole session. I think it's a 7 session series. So I think we will be covering today the Azure Compute Solution, which is an important part of Azure Developer Series. So we have split it into two parts. So now I will be covering the Azure Compute Solutions part 2. So let's go ahead and see what we will be covering in the next hour or so to see what are the things inside our compute solution. So our agenda is today for we will be covering Azure Functions, containers, and then we will be covering Azure Container Registry and Azure Container Instance. So first we will go through the Azure Functions, then I will go through basics of containers, then Docker, and we will talk a little bit about Service Fabric, and if time permits, like we will talk about a little bit of Kubernetes as well. But Kubernetes is not part of this series, but when we are discussing about containers, how it being used in the industrial world, then we will just go through a little bit of Kubernetes, then we will go through Azure Container Registry and Container Instance also. So let's go ahead and start about Azure Function. Before moving it to Azure Function, I would say nowadays you people would be hearing about a lot of what about serverless technology. So serverless technology, it's a serverless technology. If you see, if the keyword is mentions it, your application runs without a server, but that's not exactly the word the word is relevant to. So you can think of serverless technology. It's like you being a developer, you are not dependent on any server. You just host your code in a cloud platform. Let the cloud provider think about the infrastructure and all this thing. So you as a developer are independent of the infrastructure. Let's say I can say tomorrow you are developing an application. So if you are dependent on any of the server, let's say I am developing a .NET application or Java application, I need to install that application or host that application in an infrastructure. So I would be dependent on an infrastructure guy. So that's where the cloud provider came into picture. Being a developer, you don't need to dependent on the infrastructure. We will be under the hood. We will be providing the infrastructure. You can write your own code and run it in our host so that you don't be dependent on your servers, or I can say the your I can say like you don't need to be infrastructure means like you don't need to be provided in a your web server is not needed, your other dependencies are not needed. So I can say serverless compute can be thought of as a function as a service. So or a microservice that is hosted on a cloud platform that is not hosted in your on-premises infrastructure. So normally, when I say Azure Functions are serverless. So that's where you just build your code and you put it into your Azure Function app, and your function can work as smooth as it is running in your local on-premises. So I can say that normally stateless functions are great candidate for serverless technology. But it's not like that Azure function is always be a stateless. Stateful candidates can be developed in Azure function. We will cover that statefulness Azure function in the later part. But now we will go through like what is exactly like your Azure function. So as I mentioned, when being a developer, you need to run your code. You need to set up your own server. But configuring the server and application is a time-consuming activity, and it is not a developer's strength. So serverless computing eliminates this infrastructure barrier for the developers. So servers are still running the code, but developers no longer needed to worry about them. Developer can quickly deploy them, and without waiting for, let's say, the infrastructure administrator to install the server or to patch the operating system or configure the networking. Let's say I'm using the upgraded .NET version of application, and my server is not upgraded to the latest runtime of my .NET application. Then my application will fail. But in case of serverless technology, you don't need to be worry about what the infrastructure. If the infrastructure, if the cloud provider supports the latest version of your runtime, then you can just go ahead and put your code and you can run it. You are sure that your application will run on that cloud platform. So like then serverless also is, we are saying that we are not dependent on any of the infrastructure on the on-premises infrastructure. It accelerates the development. So we are removing the barrier of infrastructure administrators or the infrastructures. And like Azure Functions, these are like we will be discussing about what are the benefits of an Azure function. So I can give you an example of where Azure Functions would be helpful. Let's say we are developing an e-commerce application, and we want and we are using the third-party, let's say third-party delivery mechanism of either FedEx or any of the logistic shipping company. And there are third-party services. Let's say when they want to, when they deliver the item, they need to push the data to our platform. And for that, we need to expose. And if I go for a normal architecture application, I need to expose an endpoint so that they can push the data that the item has been delivered or what is the status of the shipping data. So that time you need to create a microservice, because that's a independent service needs to be developed. You cannot put it into your monolithic architecture, because if, let's say, your shipping service goes down, your entire application might go down. So that's why we go into the microservice architecture. I'm not going into that deep into the microservice architecture. So you can say it as we are dividing the service into based on the dependency. So let's say our shipping service is running and we have developed it. But if our shipping service is running independently, let's say tomorrow we have a sale and our shipping service needs to be scaled up. So in that case, we need to bump up our infrastructure. And again, if the sale is done, or let's say the any holiday season is gone, we need to scale it down. So that time it will be very difficult to, like, every time you manage your infrastructure and all these things, it will be very problematic for you. So that's where you can say that I can go for a serverless technology. I can expose an endpoint so that the FedEx guys can send the data to our endpoint. But I will not bother about the infrastructure. So that's where you can consider Azure Functions as a very good technology, where you can run small functions independently. They are not dependent on each other, but they are really powerful. So that's why I can say Azure Functions can be called it as a nano service. So not like a microservice, I can say it's a nano service, because you can you cannot build a large function out of Azure function. You need to build small services, so that their operations should be like, I can say, the single point of responsibility. It's not like you build the entire CRUD operation with Azure function. That's not a good idea to go ahead with Azure function, but you can build it out of Azure function. I know there are a lot of services, a lot of applications running on Azure functions entirely itself. So, and as you are dividing the responsibility into very less, very little minuscules of services, the development gets accelerated. And Azure Functions also can communicate with other services. So we will cover that in later. So so that's the major part of Azure Function overview. So let's go ahead and look into the Azure Function architecture, how it is built. So this is the Azure Function is built on top of Azure App Service itself. And if you know, prior to Azure Function, there was something called Web Jobs, which was similar kind of functionality given by the Azure, but Azure Function is way more powerful. And you can also build your Azure Function using these technology, because Azure Function is based on Web Jobs SDK. So if you see here, the base app service dynamic runtime is sitting at the below, and your Web Jobs SDK is sitting here. Then you have your Azure Function supports a lot of languages. It's not that you need to only be developing your code in Microsoft technology stack. No, Azure Function supports a lot of language runtimes, like I can say C, C Sharp, Node.js, Java, F Sharp, PHP, and nowadays it is covering a lot of technology so that you can build your Azure Function in any of the language, and it support out of the box. You don't need to be worry about anything because it always top-notch services provided by Azure. So it provides all the runtime needed for your application. So you can build your Azure function either in C Sharp or in Java, or tomorrow you can build it in PHP or F Sharp or Node.js. I think it covers lot of the languages, and you build the code and you can run it in Azure Function. So that the Azure Function, the main idea is that Azure Function itself is built on top of the WebJobs SDK and the app service dynamic runtime. So let's go ahead and check out the features of Azure Function. So the main feature of Azure Function, it is not language dependent. It's not only into the Microsoft technology stack. You can build any, you can build lot of languages supported by Microsoft. Like if you are a Java developer, you just create a Java Azure Function and put it into the function app. So you can just use the Azure Function out of the box. So that's where your choice of language is yours. It's not limited to Azure, but they are covering a lot of languages right now. I think they have covered a lot of. I think as the technology grows, they will be also growing. Then it comes pay per use pricing model. So pay per use pricing model is like Azure Functions, the number of transaction it does. Based on that, they have their pricing models. They have kind of 3 pricing models. So we will cover it once this is done. So let's think about this pay per pricing model. So what it does. So exactly the thing is that let's say one sale is coming up and your services will be used a lot. And now if you expand your service, let's say I am going into a on-premises application in architecture. So let's say you have your, as we discussed about the shipping services. Let's say your shipping services is running, and when your shipping services is running, let's say you want to scale your application right now. So what you have to do, you have to increase your infrastructure because your shipping services needs to be run on multiple instances. Otherwise, your shipping services won't be scaled. So that time you need to increase your infrastructure. You need to once you increase the infrastructure, it would be running over there. So that's where you would be paying, and once the sale is over, you are still using the same infrastructure because you already got the infrastructure for your on-premises. You cannot use it for any other purpose. So let's say now, as the sale is going on, you are running 5 instances of your normal shipping service. If you are not using Azure Function, then you are running in your, let's say you are running in your local server, then you would be running 5 instances of your shipping service. So that time, what happens? When the sale is over, your infrastructure is still being used, but there is no use of it because you don't need that much scale at that time. So that's why, but you are still paying for the servers because you have paid a huge amount of money for that. So that's where your Azure function comes into picture. That no, you don't need to pay for using the infrastructure. You just pay for the transaction, how many transactions your services does. Based on that, like what is the compute resources needed for the Azure function. For that only you are paying. You are not paying for, let's say, now my services are doing much more transaction. That's why I need to pay more. If my services are not doing many transactions, then you uh, don't need to pay more. That's why the pay per using pricing model or pay as per you go pricing model comes into picture. Azure Function also supports third-party dependencies, like you can bring your own NuGet package, or let's say I'm developing an application in .NET. I need to go ahead and I need some NuGet packages to be integrated with my application. So it supports the in .NET world. We normally use the NuGet as the package manager. So you can use the NuGet packages out of the box in Azure Function. It's not that it is limited to small functionality. It is limited to it supports out of the box NuGet packages also. Or if you are developing an application in Node.js, then you can go ahead and use the npm as the package manager. So you don't need to be bothered about like I cannot Azure Function would not be supporting out of the box things. So Azure Function supports a lot of things. So you can use your dependencies, outside dependency into your, let's say I'm talking about newtons of JSON, where I need to parse my JSON, I need to serialize my data or deserialize my data. I can use the NuGet package. So it's not a limitation in Azure Function. Then we have integrated security. Azure Function, you can give like the way we secure our application with token or the client ID, client service. Those functionalities are there, and Azure Function also supports like both integrated security. We will cover that. Then your development and deployment is really easy. You don't need to create the Azure Function inside your Azure portal. You can create it in, let's say I'm developing Azure Function in my .NET environment, Visual Studio. I can test it locally, and I can then deploy it from my Visual Studio to the Azure portal itself. And the good thing is Azure Function is an open source into open source. So a lot of people are giving their inputs into the Azure Function. You can also, if you are good into development, then you can go ahead and you can share your thoughts, or you can create a PR, and if the PR gets approved, they can be merged into the Azure Function code itself. So it's it's a very good technology provided by the Microsoft team. So let's go ahead and see how the Azure Function works. Also, Azure Function supports one of the thing called automatic scaling. Let's say, as we discussed about your Azure Function pays per you go model. Let's say your services are running, your sale is coming and your services needs to be scaled up, or your sale is down, your sale is not happening right now. Your Azure Function can be scaled down automatically. So the Azure itself monitors about your traffic. Based on that, it supports the automatic scaling. So Azure Function can be scaled on its own. So you don't need to worry about if tomorrow I will be seeing 1,000 transactions per second. What should I do? No, you don't need to worry about that. But if you want, you can set the manual scaling also. But if you don't want, Azure supports out of the box that it can be supported by it scales your Azure Function into based on your requirement. So you don't need to worry about that. So, okay. As I mentioned earlier, that Azure Function gives you pays per pricing model. It supports I can say it supports two hosting plans mainly. One is your consumption. So one is your consumption based. Another is your I can say. So one is consumption based and another is dedicated based. So a consumption based provides you automatic scaling up and down to meet your changes in demand. You only pay for the compute resources when the function is running. If the function is not running, like my function is running in the Azure function, but there is no transaction, it means nobody is using my function, then you don't need to pay for that. So that's where the consumption plan goes into the hosting plan or the pay per use pricing model. And another thing is you have your dedicated. So let's say you have your own app service running where you have hosted a lot of application and you want your Azure function to be running inside your app service plan. So there you can do you host your Azure function. You can choose your pricing model over there. So you can there you can do the manual auto scaling, as I discussed that you can choose your scaling properties. You don't need to be worried about you don't need to be dependent on Azure to decide whether you need to when to scale or when to scale up or when to scale down. So that's where the Azure function comes into the pay-per-use pricing model. So you have two pricing model, as I discussed. That one is your consumption, another is your dedicated. There is something called also sometimes people use it into the premium servicing plans also. But that is, I can say, when it is inside the consumption plan itself. But when you want longer runtimes or faster start times, like your Azure function needs to be start faster, that time you need to go for the premium. Otherwise, normal consumption plan is good. So you have to pay for the compute resource when the function is being on use, not when it is just deployed and you need to your function is ready to go. But if you're not using it, you don't need to pay. When you are using it, you need to pay. So let's then Azure Function integration. So normally Azure Function is based on two terminologies. One is trigger, another is your binding. So what is a trigger? Azure Function doesn't start on its own. It needs someone to trigger it. So that's where the trigger concept comes into picture. So you can think of a trigger is an object that defines how the Azure function is invoked. Let's say you want your Azure function to be executed every 10 minutes, or let's say you want if some HTTP request comes in, then your Azure function needs to be triggered. Or let's say you have I can say a blob storage. Each time a file is uploaded, you want to trigger an Azure function. So that's where the trigger comes into picture. Azure function doesn't run on its own. They need some trigger. And then you can say that Azure Functions supports a lot of integrations. It can be integrated. The triggers can be it can be a event hub trigger or service bus queues, or as I have given on the right hand side. If you see, we have given a lot of supported integration. So that's why the trigger is Azure function need some event to be triggered. So I can say Azure function is an event-driven concept. So it is not, it cannot be run on its own. So that's why
to be precise here, it can run on its own using one of the trigger that is known as timer trigger. So you can use one of the timer trigger to schedule it run on its own, based on a time, but still it is a trigger. Again, the name is trigger. So that's what Sanjeev is saying. You can run your Azure function only based on a trigger. Even if you want to run it automatically, then also you have to configure a trigger, something called timer trigger. Other than that, usually people will use all these supported integration. So suppose something is happening in one of the service, normally you will have a event hub event, right? I mean, some IoT device is sending some notification and you want to take some action based on that, and you have a function, you have a small code written in Azure function. So Azure function will be very appropriate choice of platform to run such kind of small codes. What Sanjeev just said, nano code, I mean nano functions. Very small thing. You just want to run it as and when something happens, and that's where this Azure function comes in picture. And you can use all these supported integration runtime, and the list is really long. Almost Azure supports almost all the possible integration, that can be a type of trigger for your code. Yeah, thanks, Sanjeev. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Let me open the whiteboard because I want to cover something. Yeah, so like we said, like Ashish said, Azure functions are trigger-based or event-driven technology. So even if you are choosing a timer trigger, also you need an input that you are giving the input that once that time reaches, then only the Azure function can be triggered. So someone reads your timer trigger and informs Azure function to be executed. So that's where your timer trigger comes into picture. We will cover the timer triggers, how it works, because a timer trigger, I can say it's kind of trigger which executes the function at a consistent interval. So to create a timer trigger, you need the supply of two pieces. One is a timestamp parameter name. One is a cron expression. So what is a cron expression? I can just explain you guys. The cron expression takes 6 parameters. So you can say it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first one is your second. I can say this is the second. Then second one is your second one is your minute. Then your hour. Then I think yeah. So your first one is second, then minute, then hour. Then I think it's the day, on which day you want to on what second you want to use, on what minute you want to run, or what hour you want to run. Second one is day. Another is, I think, the day of the I think this is the month, and this is the day of the week. So these are the 6 parameters we cover in cron expression. So so you need to provide the parameters. Let's say we want to use we want every 5 minutes your timer trigger needs to execute your Azure function. So you give 0 over here, Then you use star. The star is used for the star means that what is the interval, like every time, or how many times it needs to skip. Then we can give star star. So this is the way you write a cron expression. So if you see, like the star selects the every value in a field. We have other special characters, like when you will see a cron expression, like you have comma, which separates, like let's say, I think if you want to use first and third day of the week, so then you can use the comma. Then if you want to give range also, you can provide hyphen. Then this one gives you the what is the increment if you want to do, like every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. So this slash is to define what is the specifies the increment. So this is the cron expression you need to give when you build a timer trigger. Then we have something called, let's say, a blob trigger. We have something called blob trigger. So in case of blob trigger, let's say if you are using the Azure storage account where you have used the blob, and let's say you whenever a file is uploaded, you want to create some log. So you need to some services needs to monitor your blob. But in case you can do what you can do, you can create an Azure function associated with the service, the blob. So it's like you are subscribed to the blob. Whenever an image is uploaded, you just what you can do, you can just take the whatever file is uploaded. You can take the you can monitor the blog, and you can take create a log out of it and put it into your database or wherever you want. So that's where the blob trigger comes into picture. I will show a like sample for your blob trigger also. So these are the like triggers and bindings supported by the Azure functions. Like I said, blob storage, Cosmos DB, event grid, event hubs. So I think if you have Azure functions, like we have two versions of Azure functions. Okay, so then I think normally I will go through I think I told you about the blob trigger. So let's say we have our blob demo May 16th blob. So we need to monitor it. Then what you need to do, just give the input as demo May 16, and you provide the parameter as name. So here whenever any file is uploaded into the demo May 16 blob, you can just take it out, and Azure function can monitor it and just put it into the log wherever you want. So it's really useful. Like I think in the demo section, when we create the Azure function, we can see how it is being used. So these are the triggers and bindings. I will cover it in a bit. So these are the triggers I think we have in Azure function. Then let's go ahead and check what is binding. So binding is like in Azure function, binding is a declarative way to connect data from within your code, like whether you want some input or whether you want some output. So based on that, you need to provide the binding. So like Azure function can take input from lot of resources, and it can give the output into a lot of resources. So let's say, so bindings are two types. One is your input binding, another is output binding. So let's say you are making an HTTP triggers based Azure function. Then what you need to do, your HTTP your HTTP request comes in, and then your HTTP response comes out. So you can say that your binding will be like HTTP kind of HTTP request based binding. So, like, let's say you need the blob storage as an input, or HTTP request as an input, and you want to put the output data into a blob storage or a Cosmos DB. You can do that. So that's where your binding comes into picture. So whenever we declare a binding, we have you put it into a file called function.json, where you define your binding. So normally binding are having 4 properties, the minimum 4 properties. So what is the name of the binding? What is the type of the binding? What is the connection? So name of the binding can be like whatever name you want to provide. Let's say I want to use the blob type binding. So in the type, I will provide blob. So and the path, let's say in the path, I can provide the way I described. So the function.json would look like name, type, path, and connection. So and the direction. So let's say I want blob as an binding. So I will direction give it as in. Name I can give anything, and type I can I need to give it as a blob, and the path, let's say demo May 16, and here you provide the file name. So let's say you just want to monitor txt file, then you will need to give the extension of this is for your dynamic variable naming convention, where it can take any file name. And your in your connection, you need to provide your Azure storage account connection. So that's how your binding works. So always remember, there are 2 things. One is trigger, one is binding. So you need to provide those things for your Azure function. So then we will go ahead and, as I discussed, we will talk about the security features in Azure function. So normally when you talk about security features, what I can say, that you can provide the authorization label. So authorization label, if you are using the HTTP triggers, you can provide the authorization label, where your authorization label can be function, it can be anonymous, or it can be admin. So if you are providing the authorization label as function, so you need to provide you need to create a key inside your Azure function, which can, whenever you call the Azure function, you need to provide the Azure function key. So that is called the X functions key in your HTTP request header. So let's say you are using HTTP trigger based Azure function, then you need to provide X, and if you set your Azure function as an your Azure function as an authorization label at function label, then you need to provide your X function key, which is kind of your token based mechanism if you have provided, if you have used an API anyway. So you need to provide the X function key. So like Azure function can be also integrated with OAuth providers like Azure Active Directory, your Microsoft account, Facebook, Google, Twitter, and it's a big area which you need to explore a bit. Like we cannot cover it in such short span of time, but it can be done. It is not part of, I think, developer series also. Okay, so next. So if you see, this is a programming model for your Azure function. So what happens? This is your input, And this is your another input where I am providing the logger, and this is the output. So Azure function takes HTTP request as an input. You can in the request you can pass the body, header, all these things. So this is a programming model for a typical Azure function. I think the syntax gets changed. This is a C# syntax. Syntax gets changed when you use your Node.js or Java. But this is a simple Azure function which takes HTTP request as an trigger, and it just logs the information, and it is just giving you output that whatever input parameter you passed or in the body. So it takes into that and it just output gives you output in as an HTTP response. So this is a simple Azure function programming model which I have just taken from the Visual Studio or from my development environment. But I think the programming model remains same. It's a small chunk of code, and you can just provide your based on the syntax. It gets changed. So there are we have heard lot about like what is Azure function, when to use. So there are limitations to Azure functions also. So Azure function cannot run for longer running tasks. There are ways to run it, but you cannot, you should not use it. So and you cannot say that Azure function is replacement of a REST API, or you don't need to develop your application anymore. You just create all the services in an Azure function. No, that way it doesn't work. Azure function, it's like when you want to perform a small task and it is not tightly coupled with your environment, then you go ahead with Azure function. And the limitation with Azure function is that by default, your function runs for 5 minutes. And if you want to extend it, it can run for 10 minutes. Beyond that, it never runs. So if you want to run it in beyond 10 minutes, you need to go ahead and use something called durable functions. So durable functions are like kind of developed in function app. So they are like whenever you, it's kind of a fire and forget mechanism. So where you fire the Azure function and you forget about that, it does the processing and then it returns back. So whenever you want to use longer running task or batch processing where you want to do a lot of processing and it takes more than 10 minutes or 5 minutes, there you go ahead with durable orchestration or durable function. There are like 3-4 architectures into the durable orchestration. Your fan in and fan out. Let's say you want to do a booking app where you give send request and it goes ahead and schedules your entire entire itinerary. Let's say it books your ticket, it books your hotel ticket, and it books your conference also. Let's say 3 tasks you are doing. Then you go ahead and you create a durable function, ask it to create split into 3 tasks, and you can go ahead and do it with a durable function. So that's for I think Azure function. I will go ahead and discuss about containers now. So I think now nowadays you might have heard a lot about containers. So if I would say containers are kind of you can consider it as a packaged food. So let's say you have your micro oven. 2 people are sharing the micro oven. You get some vegetarian packaged food, and your roommate gets a non-vegetarian packaged food. They can just heat it in the micro oven and eat it. So that's where the containerization concept comes into picture. It's not that if you go and to buy a food vegetarian meal kit, they will provide the oven with you. No, the oven is with you. you just get the containerized food, you just heat it and eat it. So that's where you can consider the containerization concept. So before containerization, I think there was something called concept called virtual machines were there. So like virtual machines, what happens if I will go into the an imagery view. So this is a virtual machine. If you see on the right hand side, I have a virtual machine image, and the left hand side I can say there is a container image. So what happens in your virtual machine? You have your hardware, then you have your operating system, then sits your hypervisor. Then you can run multiple virtual machines which with guest OS. Like let's say I have a hardware where Windows is running, but still I can use I can create Linux operating system VM, and it can sit on top of my operating system. I can use both Windows and Linux in the same machine, but using virtual machine. So what happens here, whenever you use the virtual machine, it takes a lot of resources from your infrastructure, as well as your OS shares the RAM, your OS shares the hardware. So unnecessarily, if I put two OS, they are taking like your lot of resources unnecessarily. So that's where the containerization comes into picture. I think in 2008, Linux started using the containerization technology. And in 2013, the Docker INC came into picture, and it took the containerization into a next level. So nowadays, if you would be hearing the word either Dockerization or containerization. I think both are into the same. So what happens in case of your containerization or Dockerization? Your host operating systems is sitting here. Your Docker engine, you define your runtime OS dependency. It's not that the entire OS is fit into the Docker engine. The Docker engine uses the host operating system kernel to use the operating system feature. So what happens here? You provide your application into the Docker engine, and the dependency of your application, and Docker engine takes care of it and uses the host operating system kernel to run your application. So in case of Windows operating system, you can use both Docker and both Linux and Windows containers, Docker containers. But in case of Linux, you cannot use Windows containers over there. So it's not allowed. But in case of Windows, you can use that. So you can, what I wanted to say, like containerization can be defined as a form of operating system virtualization. It's not, the concept is taken from the virtual machine concept or virtualization concept itself. So if we talk about like what is a container, so I can say your container is an essentially fully packaged and portable component computing environment. So as I mentioned about the packaged food, everything is there, and you just you just go ahead and take the packaged meal and just heat it, and you can just eat it. That's if you in a layman way, if I can say, that's the terminology from where containerization came. Okay. So now we have covered this one. Let's go ahead. So these are Docker INC is the, I think nowadays it's the premium one who has taken the containerization to a new level. So these are part of your Docker engine, or you can say the Docker containerization engine. So you have your Docker client, which is called your command line interface. So whenever you create Docker gives you a lot of command, which I will go through after this bit. So in the Docker client, what happens? You give the Docker command, and the Docker server responds it with means it runs the REST API internally. It uses the REST API to send instruction either to a local Docker server or a remote Docker server. Then you have your Docker PowerShell. I think you can use the PowerShell as an Docker CLI also. Then you have your your Docker server. So in Docker server, or you can as I mentioned, the Docker CLI uses the REST API to give the command to Docker server that what it needs to do. So that's where the Docker server comes into picture. Then your Docker registry. Docker registry, you can consider it as a software. It's a software as a service Docker Container Registry, where it serves you as a repository, like you have your GitHub where you put it your code. Likely that Docker registry is an repository where you can put your container images. So you compose your dependencies, you compose your instruction, and you create an image, and you can put into the Docker registry. So Docker Swarm, I'm not going to cover it just now. I will cover it a little bit later. What is exactly Docker Swarm? So these are the main basic areas where whenever you use a Docker, you use the Docker CLI, you use the Docker Compose, or you use the Docker registry. So Docker registry is owned by Docker Inc itself. So whenever they have their public registry, they have the private registry. So you can use both. So Microsoft provides out of the box. It provides something called Azure Container Registry. It's similar to your. Okay, sorry, I need to cover the commands also. So these are the Docker commands. I think there are a lot other commands are there. So like your Docker run, whenever you want to create to run a new container, you can provide the Docker run. Then you have Docker start, you have Docker stop. I think they have in their website, they have all the command listed. I have taken a few out of that. So these are the Docker commands to play around to create emails, to run it, and to execute it. These are the commands available for the Docker engines. So as I mentioned, we have Docker registry, which is provided by the Docker Inc itself. Then comes into picture your Azure Container Registry. So what happens? Azure also provides you their registry as a repository where you can put your application images into the Azure Container Registry. So it is a private registry. You cannot create public registry over here. You cannot expose your images as in public, but these are private registries. And so you can push the images and pull from the container registry, from either using the Docker CLI or using the Azure CLI. So Azure Container Registry is it can be used by the Docker CLI also, your Azure CLI also. It's similar to the Docker registry itself, but it's limited to your Azure bound space, I can say. So whenever we talk about registry, if you put your images into your Azure container, that can be used by Azure Container Instance also to use. If I put my containers into my registry, I need to use it somewhere. Someone needs to run it. So that's where your sorry. Yeah. So your container registry images can be used by your Azure Kubernetes services also, and your Azure container instance. I will cover the Kubernetes services a bit and container instance just after a few minutes. And also container registry, let's say it provides you geo replication. Let's say your container registry instance, your container registry is needed in EMEA region or Southeast, like your US region. You can provide it geo replication to multiple region. It can be provided. So this is a this Azure Container Registry is based on Docker Registry itself. So that's why I told you, like it has taken the input from the Docker Registry itself. It is built on top of Docker Registry itself. So this is all about your Docker Registry. Then let's go into the your container instance and your Azure Kubernetes services. So what happens? Let's say you build your container, you shipped an application as a container into container registry. Then someone needs to run it, like somewhere it needs to be run. So it is not like you just put it into the Docker registry and it will start running. So that's where it comes into picture, the Azure Container Instance. So you can pull the image from the Docker registry and run it in your Azure Container Instance, so that you can your application can be accessed from outside world. So you can say that your Azure Container Instance acts as an orchestrator or or an engine to run your container registry. Similarly, let's say you have multiple and you want to run your containers in a Kubernetes cluster. So Kubernetes is like the orchestrator, where you can build a number of where you can run multiple services in a single cluster, so that it gives you an ecosystem or it gives you an environment. So that's where your Azure Kubernetes services is there, where you can pull number of multiple container images and manage them in a single cluster, and you can monitor a lot of things. I'm not covering all the parts of Kubernetes services. I'm just giving you hints like what exactly the container instance does. So you just you can just run a container. Bring a container from the Azure Container Registry and run it in your container instance. So it's you can think of it as your orchestrator. So which brings the images from the container registry and runs it into your container instance. So that's why it is called your. It's kind of your small VM running separately out of the box, and gives you the output. So the and Azure Container Instances are really fast, and it runs in an isolated environment. So that's where your Azure Container Instance comes into picture. So to run your microservice in a containerization approach, you need Docker or you need the orchestrator. So that's where your Docker Swarm comes into picture. Either you can use Kubernetes as an orchestrator, or you can use Docker Swarm as an orchestrator. So someone who manages those your container instances. But there is something called Azure Service Fabric, which is similar kind of your technology provided by Microsoft itself to manage your microservice and run your microservice into their platform. So it's kind of, you can say that when you think of about containerization and orchestration mechanism, either you can go ahead with Docker plus Docker Swarm or Docker plus Kubernetes, or the other way is you can go ahead with Service Fabric. So I think these are the things which we have covered in the your Azure Container Registry and Container Instance. So here you can see that I have Azure CLI where I push the image into the Container Registry, and the Azure Container Instance takes the image from the Azure Container Registry and it runs in an isolated environment. So I think I have covered most of the things. Now we can take a break, and after some time, I think we will start our quiz session and the announcement of winners. Thank you, guys, and stay safe.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Thank you so much, Sanjeev. So as Sanjeev said, we will be having a quick break of 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, Arun will be joining us for the lab session. So Arun will be taking us through some of the tasks and some of the things that Sanjeev has covered as part of theory. So Arun will be showing us some of the demonstration part of those topic, and then after that demonstration, we will be having a quiz where we based on the your participations, we will be sharing Azure vouchers. Of course, winners will be announced in the next session, and we will be announcing the winner of the previous sessions after the break. After the quiz. So if you have joined our previous session on the same series, and if you have participated in the quiz, then we will be kind of selecting those lucky 6 for Azure vouchers and 1 person for the book, and we'll be announcing the name today. So be there for next 10 minutes. We'll be again coming back after 10 minutes. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for staying with us. So, okay, Arun, you there?
Yes,
Arun?
thank you. Yes, can you
Yeah,
hear me?
please go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah, sure. Let me start doing it. Are you sure you want to share? Yes, of course I am. So there is my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep,
Can you see my screen?
Yep, it's there.
All right, thank you, Ashish. And before I start, I must thank Sanjeev for the wonderful explanation of the resources, and thank you, Ashish, for clarifying things. It was on point. Awesome. Before I start, I would also like to appreciate all the Azure enthusiasts, that is our audience, who are still with us. It's Sunday evening, and after break, you are with us. Much appreciated. We understand you are here to learn, and I must say, patience and consistency is the key. All right, so let's get started. And before I start, I would like to state, if you guys are getting help or benefited with these lessons, please drop the comment on the YouTube that will share this session, and also share this with your friends so that more people get benefited, especially in this time of pandemic. All right, let's get started. So I think we should go with the Azure Container Registry and instance first, and then we'll go with the functions because that is absolutely raw and pure right now. It was the last topic covered by Sanjeev. So I have, there is simple prerequisite for this lab, a very simple prerequisite, which is Docker. You should have Docker in your computer. I have this virtual machine. If you can see right now on the Azure portal, I have this Linux virtual machine where I have logged in. And if I show you Docker version, I have Docker installed on it already. That's the only prerequisite. And of course, you should have the Azure subscription and credit as well. All right, so what we're gonna do, there is like a couple of tasks involved in this exercise. Let me take you through the task first. What we'll do, we'll create an image, and then we'll tag the image so that we can push that image to the ACR. ACR is Azure Container Registry, which has already been explained by Sanjeev very well. And we will also create ACR. And once the image is there in the repository, we'll try to create instance out of it. We'll try to create through the Azure portal and through the image as well directly. Okay. So just to by keeping time in the mind, let me take you through this lab as soon as possible. So if I show you, I have this Docker file with me. Let me cat the Docker file, and you'll see it. It's very small file, and if you guys new with the Docker file is a simple text file that consists of instructions to build Docker images. For example, right now there are like few commands, like this would be the base image, the Alpine would be the base image, then it will run this command, then it will copy the this folder from here to the source app folder. This would be the working directory. So Docker file is simple text file with the instructions that will help you to create your desired image, as simple as that. And how we can build image with the help of this Docker file. There is a very simple command for this: Docker image build. This will build your image. Now you also want to tag, give the name to your image. So we can simply give any name. For example, right now we are doing demo ACI or ACR, and Docker file is in the root. So I put the dot in the end that represent here, like we have the Docker file where we are running this command. So it ran so quickly because I was preparing this demo, so I already ran it. So all those prerequisite or the dependencies already been there locally on this computer. That's why. If you remove all that and run it again, it will take a little more than this. But our lab is all about ACR and ACI. It's not about the Docker. I just wanted to show you so that you would have that understanding. We build the image, and then we put it on the ACR. You could also get the simple, absolutely simple image download or get it from the Docker Hub, and you do your lab from there as well. Or if you want this exactly the same image that I did, or if you want to follow the same lab that I'm doing it, we will share the link. It's a MS documentation link, or you can simply find it out on MS documentation. You would have the exactly same Docker file, and you can utilize this for your own lab. All right, so we have, let me show you the image first. Okay, Docker image, ls, let me make it a little big. Now you can see demo ACR. This is the image that we have created, right? This is the latest image that we have created. Now, I want this image to be pushed to the ACR. What is ACR? ACR is Azure Container Registry. We do not have any ACR as of now, right? So we need to create one, right? So we can create with the help of Cloud Shell, with the help of simple Azure CLI, with the help of Azure Portal as well, right? So whichever you prefer, it's up to you. Let me make it ACI or Cloud Shell. That would help us. So to create anything or any resource in the Azure, the very first thing we need is what? If your guess is resource group, then you're correct. We need the resource group. So let's go ahead and create the resource group. And if you are creating resource group with the help of AZ group create, then you are correct. That's how we can create AZ group create. This is the name of my resource group, and this is the location. All right. I'm going to hit enter and it will create the resource group. We'll get the JSON output right here. Now what we want to create the ACR registry, right? So AZ ACR. Now we need to create it. So I'm writing create, and we need a resource group, right? So and tab works pretty well here on the Cloud Shell. That's why it's coming so quickly. I'm just writing this command down. If it could pull the resource group, and voila, it did. Name. Now I need to put the name for my ACR. Let me make it demo10. This is the name of my ACR, and this will come in use later in the exercise or the lab. So we are using the basic SKU because it's a lab. There are other SKUs as well, like standard and premium. Premium will help you for the cross region thing. So for lab, basic is good enough for us. So we are going with the basic. So what it will do, it will create the Azure Container Registry with the absolutely default settings, as you can see. So what we need to do, we need to log in to this registry. And we can log in through our Linux virtual machine because we have our image there, right? From the machine, we are going to push it to the registry. So first you need to log in. Let me check if I'm already logged in, saving some time. Okay, yes, I'm logged in. If you are new with the CLI, you just need to do AZ login. It will give you the prompt and you can log in from there, right? So let me clear it so that you guys can see it pretty well. Now we do AZ ACR login. Where are we logging in? We need to give the name. It was demo10. That's what I remember. Hopefully that is correct. Now login succeeded. Wonderful. Now what we need to do, we need to simply, because how come our image would realize where to go, because we are going to push it, right? So we need to tag the image with the registry login server so that it will be aware where to go, right? So let me quickly go ahead and tag it. And before I tag it, let me get the name. If I'm not forgot, yeah, it's demo ACR. We need to tag this. So demo ACR, sorry, what I'm writing, it's Docker, crazy. Tag. What we need to tag, we need to tag this image, demo ACR, right? And we need to tag it with our ACR information. That was demo 10. I remember it. Let me show you because it would be much better if I show you. ACR Container Registries. Let me close this down. Demo 10. I have this registry right here. Demo 10 Azure CR.io. This is what we need. This is the login server for our ACR. We need to put this server in the tag. So Azure CR.io. Then we need to give our image, demo image, and I'm gonna give tag as in like version 1. All right, cool. Let's see what we have. So you can see now this is tagged with the information of our repository with the tag version 1, right? Now we can easily push it to our repository with the simple command docker push. What we're going to push and where, this is right here. This is the information. So we need to copy it, paste it here. OK, and we need to add the version that we have applied on this image. So it is pushing. There we go. So once the image is pushed, we can simply go ahead to the portal and come here, demo 10, and come to the, let me make it a little bigger, come to the repository, and you can see demo image, that's our repository, and version 1 is our image, right? This is what our image is. Now it is there in the in our repository. Now from here, from ACR, that is our private repository, we can use this image either for the Kubernetes, as Sanjeev explained at the beginning, or we can use it to run our own ACI, which is Azure Container Instance, right? So we can utilize, now this is in our private repository, we can utilize wherever we need the Docker images. You can run your app services with the help of this. You can even use it in your functions as well. Wherever you need the image, you can utilize from the ACR. Okay, now I'm in the V1. If I click on these 3 dots, I can run the instance from here as well, right? Now, the only thing is we first need to enable the admin here under the access keys right here. We need to enable it. Now we can go ahead and create the Azure Container instance as well. We can use simply Cloud Shell for that, or we can use simple virtual machine where I have installed Azure CLI. As you have already seen, I push the image on the Azure Container Registry from this machine. So let me clear this out and create the ACI, that is AZ container, create resource group. All right, somehow my IntelliSense is not working on my local machine. Don't worry about this public IP. This is going to be deleted after this session, because this VM is only created for this session only. It was my resource group, right? And what was the name of the image? It was demo ACR. That's what I think I remember. But here we need to give the name for the ACI. So let me give it ACI. Now we need to provide the image. Where is the image? Image is in our ACR repository, and it is demo. I should go ahead and copy it, save some time. Come on. Right here, let me copy it and put it here. Paste. Okay. This is the login server. Now we need to give the image demo 10 v1. That's what we need. Now we need to give the information for our ACI. We need like one CPU, or we need to have some memory for this. Let me give like one. We need to give registry login server information. It should have worked, I think, but I don't want to take any more chances. So that's why I'm writing everything down. This is the login server. If you are with me, you know it's demo10 and AzureCR.io. Now we need to give the registry username. If you remember, I enabled the username. That is the only reason I came here to show you how to create ACI from here. If I go to access key, you know, this is what this is the username. What is the name of your registry? Now, if I come here, go to the repository again, just to show you, come here. See, I can also create the instance from here. If I click here, just to show you, let me give it a name, demo ACI 20, right? 1 core, 1.5 memory, click on OK. It will also deploy the Azure container instance, right? But I just wanted to show you how we can do it with the help of Azure CLI. That's why I'm just writing this down, all down for you. Now we need the registry username, right? The only bad thing is my IntelliSense is not working. Otherwise, it wouldn't take that long. Okay, but that's how we improvise. So registry username is demo10. Hopefully I'm not doing any spelling mistake. That is usually happens. Then we have registry password. Registry password, and here it is. I need to copy it because it's demo. That's why I'm doing this like openly, but it's not a good practice. But I've already showed you how you can do it through the image then and there, right? Okay, now it says, okay, that's my issue. No worries. It's the issue with the credentials. That's why I was saying it's a lot of words to type, and I did a mistake. But don't worry. That's why I also created one more container instance. If you see 1 to 0 through the image then and there, right? So that's how you can create it. Or there is one more way. You can click here, and you can create it from here as well. You can choose the same resource group. You can give it another name like demo 21. The location, we need to be very cautious about the location because our ACR is basic, right? And basic would not jump the region. So demo 10. From here, you can select the registry, image, and the version, and you can create your ACI. So that's how you can create your ACI. Don't worry about this entire command that I was typing. It is a huge command. I did some mistake in the credential. That's why it got the error. But you know the essence, how we can create the instance. You can create it through the image. You can create it through the portal, and you can create it through the command line. And as I said at the beginning, if you see the entire command line is there on the MS documentation, you can follow it. All right. And if you would have time, I'll show you again at the end of the demo if we would have time. So let's jump to the function now. So we are good with the ACR. We have created the registry. We have created the image with the help of Docker file. We pushed the image to the ACR, that is our registry. We created the container with the help of that image that was lying in the registry through the portal, through the image, right? Now let's quickly jump to the Azure Functions, which are like lightweight and serverless and easier to write and deploy. So let me quickly show you the very first thing, create the function through the Azure portal. Let me go to Functions app. From here, you can simply create the function, click on New. As I said, you need the resource group for everything. I'm choosing the same resource group that I have created for the ACR. Now you need to give the name to your Functions app. Let me give it a demo 100. Okay, somebody has taken it. Let me make it 321 if that works. No, 123. All right, 321, 123 is the name of our function app. Now code, the runtime stack we are choosing is .NET. .NET 1 is fine with us. Central US is fine with us. Now, hosting. Whenever we create the functions app, we also need the storage account because the code is going to be in the storage account and the computing power is given by the plan type that Sanjeev explained, the consumption plan or the serverless plan, where the charges on the basis of the execution request. You could also have this function placed in the app service plan, like the app services, because when we create the app services, we needed the app service plan. App service plan is the compute power for your app services. Same for the functions app, you can choose app service plan. In that case, the pricing of the app service plan would be applicable to your functions. You can also choose functions premium. Functions premium has other capabilities, like it would give you premature warm instances. It will give you the virtual network connectivity option and a lot more. As the name says, premium, more features, more money. All right, so for this demo, we are going to choose serverless, as simple as that. And if you remember, I just want to show you that is very important. I have chosen the Windows, not the Linux one. There is a reason behind it. Because if I choose Linux, I would not be able to deploy through the Azure portal. And I want to show you this through Azure portal first, then we'll do it through the command shell. Okay, so just stay with me. I'll show you in a minute. Review and create. This function will be created, and along with that there would be a storage account which is created, and this is a Windows function, right? In the next exercise, we'll create the Linux function. Then I'll show you the difference, why I was emphasizing on the hosting platform, whether it's Linux or Windows. Okay. All right. Now it wouldn't take long. Meanwhile, I can also talk about a little bit, like I think it has already been covered very well by Sanjeev, but it is a serverless. It is lightweight. We do not make the entire app on this. We try to make it a nano services, as pretty well explained by Sanjeev. Azure Functions do not need any infrastructure and have like zero maintenance. Can be built, tested, and deployed in Azure portal, even using browser. Visual Code is your tool, your guide to work on this thing. Meanwhile, I also explain while this thing is happening, or I should also create one more function, which is a Linux function. All right, let it be. It's here. It's here. So this is the function, and if I go to function under the function, wow, and okay, now I have the option click on add. So I'm clicking on add. You see this option development environment, development portal. We do not have this option if we choose Linux as a platform. That is the only reason I chose Windows and showed you through the portal so that I could show you this. And now, since we are here and it says develop in portal, so let's develop in portal, right? HTTP trigger, it's pretty well explained already in this session. Let's choose HTTP trigger. And here you need to give the name. Let me give it some name. Let's say demo. OK, click on add. Or we can change the authorization level as a anonymous just to perform this demo. So these are the triggers, which is already explained. So I'm not getting into the explanation. I'm just getting into the demonstration. If you click on hope it's deployed. If I missed, yeah, code plus test. You would have this thing where you can test your code, right? If I come here, this is the URL for this function. And if I copy it and put it here, and right now, if I do it like this, name is equal to AzureTalk and enter, you can see we are getting the reply as hello AzureTalk, this HTTP triggered function executed successfully. So these are inbuilt functions given by MS for us already. So this is the Windows function. I just wanted to also show you if I have time. Ashish, can I also go ahead and show quickly the Linux one if I have time?
Yeah, please go ahead. We have time.
Thank you. All right, so good. Let's get back to the functions app. And this time what I'll do, I'll also try to create the storage account first and then use that storage account to create our function. So you can simply go ahead, give it a name, function store demo 321. Just a random name. Resource group, let me create another one. Linux Func. Cool. All right, LRS would be good enough. And this is the usual settings. Let me review and create. Need not to get into the depth of the features and the settings of the storage account because this is just a part of lab. We are not getting into the deep of storage account. If you want to get into it, you can check the entire playlist of 104 on the AzureTalk channel. You could also browse my own channel, Pachara Talks, where you would have details of Azure storage account also. So now, while it is creating, let's get back to the Azure function. The only thing we need meanwhile is the information of the resource group. It would be better to place in the same location in the same resource group, right? So it's Linux Func is the resource group and the East US is our region. I'm clicking on the Azure functions again, click on the new. Same thing. Linux Func, we need resource group for everything. This time I'm gonna call it Linux 231. Hopefully no one. There we go. .NET works well for both. That's fine. This time East US. That's our region where we are working. Hosting. Let's do the Linux. All right. Now, while it is okay, I think I forgot to show you hosting. It's again going to create another storage account. We don't need this. We need our own storage account that we have created. That's the whole purpose of creating the storage account on the first time. So we are here. We have the other tab like monitoring. We can utilize tags. That's all. So review and create is good enough. Let's go and create. So this time it would not take that long to creating this function because we already have the storage account, right? Okay, now While it is creating, I just want to tell you about the prerequisite for this demonstration. We need a couple of prerequisites for this demonstration, right? If I'm on the right virtual machine, yes, I am. So it is working fine. Let me show you the prerequisite that we need that I'm talking about. The very first thing is you need .NET installed on your computer, because that's what our application is, right? Only then your .NET build command will work. If you do not have the .NET, this lab would not be applicable for you. I'm just only talking about this particular lab that I'm performing. That you also need the Azure Functions core tool, so that you can run your func install or func init commands. You can easily install from MS documentation. You also need HTTP REPL tool for this lab, and that tool is also available there. You can easily do that. So these three things you need. Now let me quickly create one folder as lab 05 for this particular lab. And now let's first create, let me open this right here. Let me open my bash. It's fine. You should. I already installed all the relevant tools that I'm talking about, so I should be able to run everything pretty well. So that's fine with me. Now we are going to create a function locally on our local computer. Right? As last time we did it through the portal, this time we are going to create through the local computer, right? So what we need to do, we need to simply run this command, func new template. We are using HTTP trigger and name as echo. So this trigger will only echo. All right. This thing works pretty well in the command prompt. So let me close this and use the command prompt. This is git bash. You all be using the git. So I just opened the git bash. Let me open this. Okay. And let me go there. This is the location. Oh no, we don't need this command right now. We need this. And once I'm on the location, and now I'm gonna run this simple template new function command as a name echo, and I'm choosing .NET. These options I'm getting because I have installed this core developers tool for the function. That's why. Now, as soon as this is done, that's why I just wanted to show you. You see all these things appeared on my folder that I've created. So this means simply HTTP trigger function is there on my local folder, right? What I'll do, I'll simply open it in the Visual Code, and where we can simply mess with certain settings so that our lab will be successful. That's why I'm doing it. The only thing you need to do is we need to get into the echo.cs file. This is the file. And before we do that, we also need to check one more thing. I'm just looking for, okay, that comes later. That's fine. Let me quickly move this information. We do not need this information. Come on. And okay, I'm just trying to fetch the because you're not able to see it, I'm just trying to fetch the code from the Microsoft documentation because we need that to perform this lab. So I'm just waiting for that right now. Just bear with me. Okay, I got the code. I got the code. I got the code. I'm just Googling it. I'm so sorry. This window was closed. That's why it happens. So I'm just copying it, but I found it. This is the simple code we are putting in for the HTTP request. You can see. Now, the only thing is the storage account that we have created. We also need the connection string of that storage account, and we need to place that connection string under the Azure Web Job Storage that we will see once we initiate the function. Let me try to do that. I think I simply used the template. I did not initiate it. Hopefully this will work now. No, it did not. I think I should do it again. Let me do it properly again. Lab 06. Okay. Lab 006. I'm in a new folder. Now, first of all, I need to initiate the function. I missed this initiation of the function. That's why I did not find that web storage file so that I could simply put the connection string there, right? Now, if I do ls, oh, I'm sorry, I'm command prompt. Okay, that's why. Okay. Let me quickly go there and see. Okay. All right. Now I'm unable to see the same web storage information so that I can provide the connection string, and our function will perform as we wanted. So let me quickly debug it. Meanwhile, I would request Ashish if he wants to jump in and share something. Meanwhile, I'm debugging it. Ashish?
Okay, yeah, I was there. I was answering a few questions there.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, anything specific you want me to explore, or is it like
No, I just wanted to fill the dead air because I'm just debugging it. It will take 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe you just do all those things that you do, like talk about the different stuff, the vouchers and other stuff while I'm debugging it, and I'll end with this demo. Okay.
Yes. Fine. Okay, so let's do one thing. Because Arun is going to do some troubleshooting in the backend. We will start the quiz, and in the meanwhile, as soon as we'll be done with the quiz, we'll come back to Arun.
I think. Oh, sorry to interrupt, Ashish. It was my bad. Maybe because Sunday evening, it's too late. I found it.
Okay.
Okay, I found
That's
it.
good then. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys, for the mess up, but I found it, and this is our storage account. What we need the connection so that our function can talk to the storage account. That's what I was looking for. This is the function this is the storage that we have created, which is utilized by the function, Linux function that we have created. So what I need the access keys and connection string so that it can talk to this function, right? Now under local settings, Azure Web Storage, this is what I was looking for. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm not a developer. So in my defense, that's all I can say. I'm an architect, I'm not a developer, but I wanted to learn. That's why I jump in and started performing all those things. So I got the connection string, and that's how it will talk to the Azure storage account. So we are good here. Now, what we need to do, since we have initiated, now we need to get back and utilize the template. echo. All right. Now, if I get back to this, we got the information already, or maybe I am looking at the wrong place, but that's okay. That's okay. I have completed this one. I'm at the lab 06. If I do this, a little experiment. I don't know whether time permit or not, but it's fine. I'll try to do it. Now what I need to do, I need to get back to the old folder that I have created for this lab. Now if I see, oh, I'm doing ls, this is command prompt. I have echo.cs where I have put the code, local setting where I put the connection string. Very well. Okay. I don't know, it is just happening with me, or it happens with all of you, like clear and CLS. I'm using command prompt sometimes git bash, sometimes bash cloud. All right, let's try to build the function now, as we have put the enough information in our folder, which is required. Build. Hopefully it should work. All right, it says it is working. So now, if you remember, I did talk about the tool. If you see, it says host lock lease acquired. What it means, it's simply going and talking to the storage account through that access key. If I go to the container, if you remember, I have created the blank storage account. I did not put any containers. If I hit the container, you see there are a lot of things here already. So web job host, hopefully this was the, yes, web job host. So this is acquiring this under logs, tools. You see lease, it has acquired this particular blob. And now if I go and open another command prompt and run that HTTP REPL REPL tool, it will help us to perform the demo. CD API and CD echo. And now if I go ahead and post, let's suppose content 3, we are getting the echo, we are getting it back, right? If I put post or content, come on, post content, hello, we should get this back. You see, hello. So this is echoing back. So this function is working absolutely okay locally on my computer, though it has acquired the lease. If you see on the previous command, you see that it is giving us back everything, and this lease is still there. Now if I close this, let's close this. I've closed this. Let me close this as well. Let me exit it out from this tool. We are all good. Now what I do, I publish this particular function in the function app that we have created for the Linux. And there is a very simple command, func Azure function app publish. That's it. Let me go to function app. Linux 231, that was the name of our function app. I'm sorry, this one. Publish Linux 321. 231, okay. 231. Hopefully this will go and publish in this function app. Unable to find the project root, expecting to find. Okay, I'm on the wrong command prompt right here. From here we should publish it. Okay, so don't worry, do not feel bad if we encounter any mistake or something like that, because that is the only way we can learn. If everything goes as expected, there is very less learning. That's what I think. If you encounter issues, you have a lot more to learn. So let's go ahead and publish it again. Linux 231, I hope. If I am not messing up with the spelling. All right, cool. This time it's doing something and I think it succeeded. Now it's getting site. All right, it's uploading the package, deployment successful. All right, we are in the Linux 231. That's the functions app. If I click on the function, I should find our echo function right here. You can see it. If I click and get inside the function, this is the code plus testing that we did when we created the function through Azure portal, right? Now here you can also see the logs and we can do the test. It's a echo, so it's a post function. And this is the body. You can type something here like something, whatever. If I run it, we should get the output. There we go. It's echoing it, right? Close it. From here, you can get the logs. I just closed it, but you know from where we can get the logs as well. Similarly, you can create schedule function and other functions, which is very well explained by the Sanjeev. So I think we are through with all the labs on the. I think we are good. We covered Docker images, we covered ACI, we covered ACR, we created instance through image in the ACR, we created the function through Azure portal, Windows function, we created the Linux function and then attached the storage account, we created the function locally and publish it on the Azure function on the Azure portal. So we are good. Well, thank you all for, and thank you for your patience staying with me while I messed up a little bit. Over to you, Ashish. Please cover that up.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Arun. Okay. So after this excellent demo by Arun, we are going to open the quiz and let me share the screen. Sure. All right. So this is, yeah. So this is the screen, and this is the QR code you need to scan to open the quiz, as well as I'm going to share the URL for that. So the URL will be this q.azureeasy.com/az204. I'm going to put this in the chat as well. Just Control-C. Control-V. Yep. So please go ahead and open this URL and you should be able to open the quiz. The quiz has, it will be open for next 10 minutes. So please go ahead and answer all the questions within 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, the quiz will be disabled. So if you have not submitted, you might get an error while you are submitting after 10 minutes. So yeah, this is the time. The winners will be announced on 6th June. That is our next session in the series. And you can register for our next session on this URL, azureeasy.com/az204. You can go ahead and visit this URL to enter a chance to win a Surface Go laptop by Microsoft by joining Azure Skill Challenge. That is a thing that you can join apart from getting the vouchers from us. So let's wait for next 10 minutes. We'll be soon coming back. And then, yeah.
While you guys are performing it, I just wanted to announce one more time. I work with Rackspace. This is one of the best company to work with. We still have openings for Azure architects. If you guys are interested, you guys are experienced. If you know someone, if your friends who are looking for a change and those who are working as an architect or or senior engineers who has pretty good idea about the architecture, please apply for the positions. Trust me, this is one of the best company to work with and to learn from. Thank you.
And you can also join our job group. I have posted the URL Telegram. This is again a Telegram group where we post, various companies, managers, people, referrals. They post their job posting, and of course you can connect with Arun as well to share your profile, and then he can take it forward to evaluate with the openings that they have in Rackspace. Okay. Okay, so we'll wait for, I think it's 7 minutes more now. Okay, I see that a couple of people are not able to open. Okay, can you please check again? Just refresh your browser or open the link again. There was a restriction on this quiz. Now you should be able to open. And of course, we will reset the time. Let me open it in incognito mode. Yes, it's opening. So hopefully you guys are able to open. Anyone can confirm in the chat. That will be helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
Ashish, were we able to show this or live feed in the YouTube? Was it successful?
No, YouTube is still not working. So we are working on that. We could not test it again. So possibly we will see that due to a lot of commitments, we are not able to live it. But yeah, we will be uploading the recording on the YouTube.
I did see it was showing the poster and everything, but it was not starting.
Yeah, because I was trying to do this using Team. There is some hardware issue, I guess. We have to do, testing again.
Cool. So this is for you all. This is a wonderful news. If we could break through this issue that Ashish mentioned, we would be able to live feed to YouTube or Facebook, maybe other platforms, just like we are doing through Eventbrite. People who have, I think, not registered can also watch this, right? On YouTube.
Yeah.
Cool. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay. 8 more minutes.
So we have 3 more minutes for this quiz.
Yes. And those who have completed the quiz, I have posted the link for the LinkedIn Azure skill test by Microsoft. So you can go ahead and open that link and probably take that particular activity later, or you can save it and do it later. This is a really good opportunity to get into the list where Microsoft give away Surface Go laptop in monthly raffle. So it's okay. Okay. Vipin, we have 1 more minutes.
Yes, so it's the last minute now, Ashish.
Okay.
Few more seconds now.
Vipin, should we lock it now?
Yes, Ashish.
Okay. So guys, we are locking down, and now you won't be able to submit your responses. And we have got a good number of responses, and we are going to announce the winner for this session in our next session. But we are going to announce the winner for the previous session. And let me share my desktop with the list of people. Oops, right, just going there. Yeah, this one. So let me share my screen. Okay. And okay. So here's the wheel, and let me get the name of the people who will be the name of the people who participated in the quiz last time. So there are total 48 people. Out of these 48, 6 will be selected for the vouchers, and 1 person will be selected for the book. Let's go ahead and select the names. So I'm going to run this wheel. And the first name is Sandeepan. So congratulations, Sandeepan. We will be soon contacting you with the voucher. All right, so the next winner is Manuel. Congratulations, Manuel. We'll soon contact you with the voucher code. And the third winner is John. Congratulations, John. And the fourth winner is Avinash Pandey. Congratulations, Avinash. So we'll soon contact you. And this will be the fifth one. Okay, Vinod, congratulations. And this will be the last one for the voucher. Ajay Kumar, congratulations. Now, this will be the last one for the book. And this is Sajid. Congratulations, Sajid. I'll be soon sharing you the book. Okay, so these are the lucky winners for this previous session. Similarly, we will be having the winners for this today's session in our next session. We will be announcing the winners for the today's session quiz in the next session. And let me just quickly share my screen again.
Meanwhile, please guys utilize the vouchers, prepare well, apply for the exam and pass it. And whenever you get the certification, do mention Azure Easy and share with your friends. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Arun, for mentioning that. That will help us to help more people to get the certification as well as sharing the knowledge, and people will get to know that all these resources. With that, we are about to finish the today's session. Before that, I would like to thank Arun. So, for the awesome demo. If you want to connect with Arun, you can connect with Arun on the LinkedIn URL that you have, and you can also subscribe to his YouTube channel where he frequently share his Azure service updates, architecture related topic, and all those things on his YouTube channel. So I will definitely recommend you to subscribe to his YouTube channel. If you want, you can connect with him on LinkedIn. You can also connect with Sanjeev on his LinkedIn profile that is mentioned on this slide. Apart from that, we have listed some of the resources here. The first link, that is azureeasy.com/az-204. That is the registration page for our 204 session. If you have not registered yet, please go ahead, register. We select the winners from the combination of the people who are registered as well as who have participated in the quiz. So participating in the quiz and registration will make you eligible for the vouchers. And every session we are sharing 6 vouchers with 1 book. So it's really a good opportunity if you are preparing for the certification. This is a good opportunity to get a free voucher and get yourself certified. AzureTalk is our Telegram group. where we all, core team members are active there. So if at all you have any question related to sessions, related to Azure in general, you're working on something in your, in your project, you are facing some real-time issues, you want to discuss with someone, you post it there. We all are active there. We, this is one of the largest community, I would say, more than 10,000 people across the globe. You are going to interact with, and you are going to get your help from these people, including, AzureTalk core team members like Arun, myself, all other members. Another group is Azure DevOps Pro. That is our DevOps group. So if you are, working on a DevOps project, you are having questions related to CI/CD pipelines, you are having issues with Azure DevOps, you are having issues with any kind of practice that you are implementing for DevOps adoption in your organization, very specific to DevOps, we have this group as well, where you can post your questions. All our recordings, all our session recording are uploaded on our YouTube channel, which can be accessed by youtube.com/AzureTalk. That is our YouTube channel where all our previous sessions. If you are first time watching our session, we have already conducted session for AZ 900, AZ 104, AZ 400, and this is our fourth session. I mean fourth series, I would say, where we are covering all the topic related to AZ 204. So if you are looking for the material to prepare for any of these certifications, as AZ 104, which is AZ starting AZ 900, which is for fundamental, AZ 104, which is for Azure administration, AZ 400, which is for Azure DevOps engineer, and this again AZ 204, which is for Azure developers. So we have this all covered, and in coming days we are going to have all such more such sessions where we'll be having more sessions related to either one of the topic, or maybe one of we are going to cover the entire certification topic, entire certification series as part of different modules. Having said that, I would like to thank everyone who joined us today, and I really would like to thank all our core team members, including our today's speaker, who stayed with us, who has been helping us to conduct all these sessions. Thank you so much. Stay safe. We will again connect on the next session. Please go ahead and register on Eventbrite by accessing azurec.com/az-204, which is also on the screen. Join our Telegram group for getting all the updates. We will be sending updates to all the registered participants as well as in our Telegram group about the recording, about the slides, and all those things. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Have a good day ahead. Thank you.